Okay, shall we get started, everyone?
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Hello to all the participants. Thank you for being here today, and welcome to our webinar. Here's what you can expect from the next 60 minutes. Krishna will first help us understand the complexities of working in SAP environments, their challenges, and why DevOps is so essential for SAP application development. Then Niranjan and Rahul will walk us through the ReleaseOwl platform and its cutting edge new feature that simplifies SAP application deployment like never before. So let's get started with introducing our speakers that we have for the day. First, we have Krishna Kishore, who is an application architect with over 20 years of experience working in SAP's technology areas. He's also an SAP Press published author of SAP Fiori Certification Guide, along with numerous blogs on the SAP community as well. So I think that attests to him being a top contributor on the global SAP community. Welcome, Krishna.
Thank you.
Then we have Niranjan. He is the founder and CEO of ReleaseOwl with nearly 2 decades of experience in DevOps and SAP. As a firm believer in the power of DevOps, he strives to further the DevOps movement into the SAP space using ReleaseOwl, which is a native DevOps suite designed specifically for the SAP platform. Welcome, Niranjan. And
thank you.
Then we have Rahul. He is our solution architect here at ReleaseOwl. He has an unmistakable flair for pre-sales. And in addition to having a rich understanding of SAP, he's also skilled at developing solutions as well as organizing, planning, creating, and delivering compelling proof of concept demonstrations. So welcome, Rahul. We can't wait for all the interesting insights that all of you have for us in store today. I'll now hand it over to Kishore. Krishna Kishore, please take it away.
Yeah, great. Okay, maybe we can go to the first slide. Yeah, hope you can hear me all right.
Yes.
Oh, great. Okay. So we'll talk about DevOps as we see. So DevOps, what is DevOps? So in short, as we see, it is a short form of development and operations. So it's a set of best practices, ideas, tools, technologies to ensure that your software development lifecycle is quick and efficient. When it comes to SAP context, in my whole 20 years of SAP technical career, I have never really talked a lot about SAP and DevOps in a single sentence, right? So, I mean, I have used bits of pieces of, DevOps tool chain here and there, but rarely I had used end-to-end CI/CD pipeline, in an SAP project. I think it's pretty much the same even now in many of the traditional SAP projects. So what has changed in last few years? So let's look into what was the history of SAP development and what has changed in last 4 to 5 years in the SAP development landscape that really requires us to get into DevOps. So let's look into the SAP history of SAP development, right? If I remember last 20 years when I started started my SAP career, those days SAP development had primarily two things. One is configuration changes and programming changes, workbench transports, configuration transports. That's all, right? So the most complex thing those days were sequencing of transports. Only those things can fail. And in terms of testing, we always had manual unit testing and manual integration testing. And when you think about the production releases, they were either once in a quarter or even once in a year or once in a half year at many of the organizations. So the whole production releases were really long, and we had all the time to really get into the production. You had all the time to get into do manual unit testings, manual integration testing, do all the approvals over emails, have huge change management meetings, having 20, 30 plus people and discuss a lot and then move to production, right? So life was pretty relaxed. And those days we used to use Solman. So that was pretty much very much a good tool for on-premise landscapes. We can even use it for requirement gathering or test case recording and all the on-premise transport handling. And the good old charm was really a charming tool. So it was really a great help for on-premise development and all this governance around SAP development. So let's see what is the current development, right? Maybe Tanya can go to the next, right? So the current landscape it's a hybrid development landscape. I think it started getting complicated probably in around 2013 when Fury started. So that is when you started having UI5 developments, which are front-end developments. Then you started having Git-based version management, right? Earlier, we just had SAP's server-based version management. So with the advent of UI5, then we started having Git-based version management. I mean, SAP was pretty late to the game, but those things started, and SAP started opening up into the open source world. So I would say Fury was the first thing. And then we have various mobile apps, right? Using SAP mobile services, the BTP offering. Then we have SAP Cloud Application Programming Model artifacts, various MTAR files. And recently, a couple of years back, we started having SAP build process automations. And then, of course, we have integration suite iFlows, which is one of the flagship product in SAP's armory. And then we have SAP Analytics Cloud. Then we have SAP HANA Cloud artifacts, and all these things. I mean, I can go on. There are at least few more tools there, and along with the traditional transports which we have in ECC and S4HANA. So it's quite a diverse environment, and there are dependencies between them, and you have to ensure that timing is right. You have to ensure that the production releases have to be faster as well. Things have changed. We are talking about these days production releases every 2 weeks, every 1 week. So that kind of production releases. So the production release cycles have drastically reduced, while the SAP complexity, the development complexity have drastically, increased. So that is, that's becoming a double whammy. So that's why the traditional processes which we have is unable to cope with the complexity and the shorter release cycles which we have. So we also have many points of failures, right? As I'm talking about various tools, and any one of those tools fails, then your entire SAP project basically fails, or you're unable to continue in your SAP project journey. So there are multiple points of failure. So the quality is very important. While the quality is important, you have to ensure that, but you don't have enough time to do all the manual testing. That means you have to do automation, automated testings. And the architecture, the whole landscape has become complex. So how do we manage all these things? I mean, after getting into, after working on multiple projects, having more and more these kind of new artifacts, I have started feeling that the traditional, governance things which we have, or the tools which we have, they're really lacking. So what is the solution? Enter DevOps. So DevOps is not something new in the open source world. It has been there for decades. But within SAP, so this is like a culture which all of us have to ensure that, we adhere to. And be it ReleaseOwl or not, I think entering into DevOps, we cannot escape from it. So that is some learning which I really figured out. And when you get into the DevOps, third slide. So what are the ways we can really do this? I mean, the first thing is, as I see, the agile methodology is something which is really helping us here. Meaning the traditional waterfall methodology is not going to work because we need more feedback. When it comes to the testing, we have Q unit testing, we have VDR5 testing, OPA for various writing unit test cases. Then we have integration testing tools which SAP has released, in addition to various open source testing tools which we have. We of course have ABAP's ABAP Git repository, which is an open source tool which initially got started, and now with S4HANA, SAP officially supports Git for ABAP. And then the testing is getting automated. So we have several tools for managing our test cases and automating and running automated regression test cases. Then we have specialized tools for requirement gathering, sprint planning, change management, governance, even code quality, right? So these are the various tools which we have to use, ensure that the new challenges which I have talked earlier has to be met. Maybe next slide, Tanya. Yeah. Fourth slide, yeah. So what's the solution, right? As I said earlier, Solution Manager was the earlier solution for the earlier days. And SAP has also upped the game, and there are new tools like ALM, SAP ALM. But let's think what Solution Manager used to do earlier, right? Be it requirement gathering, be it test case documentation, be it documentation, or even charm. Everything used to happen via Solman. But as I said, in the new environment or in the new landscape, what customers are doing are they're using Jira or Azure DevOps for maybe ticketing or even capturing the requirements or capturing the backlogs and sprint planning. They are using ServiceNow for change management. They are using Tosca for test automation. They are using UiPath for automating many routine tasks. They are using SonarQube for ensuring that code quality is there. Of course, in addition to many other tools. But we need a tool that doesn't actually reinvent the wheel, right? We do not want a new tool from SAP, which will basically create tools for all these things. We already have best of breed tools. We need a tool chain which can basically orchestrate all these tools, all these best of breed tools, so that we don't really have to change into new set of tooling. And traditionally, many of the organizations, for their open source projects, they already use these tools. But when it comes to SAP, they definitely do not want to switch tools just for the sake of technology, right? So I think that is when. I think we need tools which basically orchestrate and help us in our DevOps journey. So luckily, I met Niranjan, who is an industry veteran in DevOps industry, who has amazing track record in the Salesforce environment. And I think from 2 to 3 years, he has heavily invested on the SAP landscape. And here we have ReleaseOwl, which is natively built platform for SAP DevOps. And when I say natively built, something which is very close to my heart, because ReleaseAll is built on using SAP BTP technologies. It uses CAP. It uses various other cloud technologies as well, but it uses multi-tenancy on SAP BTP. It uses SAP Cloud CAP. And on the UI, it uses Fury, which is a very familiar user experience for most of us. With that, I pass on to Niranjan now. So please enlighten us on what ReleaseAll can help us in this journey.
Yeah, thank you, Krishna. It is an absolute pleasure to have you here, and your contributions to SAP and BTP application architectures are simply great. And thank you for choosing to review ReleaseOwl and being part of the talk related to SAP DevOps.
Thanks.
And being an SAP mentor, I gave a word to Krishna that we will not sell anything here, and we will keep it very educative and focused on capabilities of ReleaseOwl as a platform. And essentially, it's a pretty large platform that covers from ECC to BTP, CPI. We have announced it for SAP Analytics Cloud with several integrations, but we would want to respect everyone's time and then focus on the aspect of the deployment multiverse, which is the theme of the webinar. Next slide, please. So jumping right into the demo. So what do you expect to see probably in the next 30 minutes is about how do we define a change? We define a change in Jira, which is what we call user stories. And then ReleaseOwl has integration with Jira. We will show the integration and then have the user story in ReleaseOwl as well. Once you have the story, then as a developer, I have Rahul with me who plays the role of a developer. He will make changes in various SAP systems, be it the ECC, S4HANA, CPI, and then make a change in the theory, then make a change for SAP, SAC packages, some models in SAC packages. We'll try to make a wide range of changes. That's what we call prepare the change, and then build the change. Build the change is all about ensuring all of these artifacts are synchronized into ReleaseOwl. Then we attach all these artifacts that we have in ReleaseOwl to this user story. And now that you have the story, you have the changes, and the changes are attached to the user story, you have it, you have the power in the hand. Now we need to take it with quality to environments like QA, pre-prod, prod, all these higher release environments with the necessary approval process in place. That is what we call as release pipelines in ReleaseOwl. So we will show you defining a release pipeline, then taking this user story along the pipeline all the way to prod. And we will have a look at the various execution reports and logs, and that will sum up the deployment multiverse. So in one single deployment request, what we have achieved, it took 4 years for us to be here at a point where we have a patentable solution, that is to be able to deploy managing dependencies across multiple SAP systems, be it on-prem or cloud, with one single deployment request from ReleaseOwl. So, and I am very sure you will appreciate what we have done. And on this note, we will log into ReleaseOwl. And Rahul will be my peer.
Just allow me to share my screen.
Rahul has been with us from the beginning, and he leads our pre-sales and solution architecture teams.
Yeah.
So what you see is a native DevOps platform built on SAP, built for SAP. So what you see here is typically the dashboard, which talks about the stories in progress, which transports are deployed to which system, information about the builds, the success, failures, the summary of the deployments. Now let us talk about the story that we are doing, we are discussing about. Let's show the story in Jira. So this is what I call step 1, defining the requirement. So this is the defined requirement we have. This is a user story, which is in Jira. Okay, now let us go to ReleaseOwl and let us click on the, so ReleaseOwl has a change management module, wherein you can integrate with Jira, you can integrate with Azure DevOps, you can integrate with ServiceNow Agile effortlessly. It's all out of the box. And for those teams who are willing to get started into Agile and don't have a tool yet, we also have a rudimentary change management module where you can define sprints, you can define your backlog, you can define your releases, and then you can maintain you can run your sprints as well. And we have this story available in, let us click sync user stories. And then that is.
By the way, this is a bidirectional integration. Just for the purpose of demo, we have to click the sync.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bidirectional sync. And we have the story now. All right, now that as a developer, Rahul, you have a user story that you see in ReleaseOwl. How do you go about it? So let's log into your SAP system and let's show the changes that you have done.
Yeah. So as a developer, what the developer has been assigned with, so he might be assigned with few tasks that he has to do it. So the ECC are different environments that he is working on or they are working on. So here, as an example, we have created a sample piece in our S4 system where you can see I have modified a class and a test class, and which has been captured.
Rahul, we still see the ReleaseOwl screen. Maybe it's on a different screen.
Yeah, understood. Let me reshare it. I hope you are able to see my screen now.
Yes, please.
My bad. Okay. So as a developer, they are working on different changes in different environments now. And as a part of development, they have modified their objects that they are working on. So here you can see I just modified a simple class, which I have captured in a transport, which I will use this transport to move across my landscape, the change that we are working on, the on-premise system. So this is my on-premise version that I have worked on. Now, in the similar way, also we have worked on the CPA artifacts, where these will help in different integrations that we have connected with different systems, which have to be more along with the change that we have made in our S4 systems. So just give a quick refresh. I have already made few changes to the artifact and already made available, so that I can sync this particular change, which is at the version 1.0.43. When I sync it into the releaser, it should be available in releaser. So not only that, along with this, I have worked on my SAC objects, where this package will be deployed with the help of releaser. So this is where the entire development has been done across 3 different modules. You can say like the S4 system, your CPA or the SI integration suite, and the SSC systems. So this complete change or the development that we have made across different landscape will be deployed using ReleaseOwl. So this is where I have made changes, and let's see how we can link or add these particular changes to our user story that we have created for this development. So
So now let's take one at a time and then synchronize them. Now let's go to transport management first. We'll briefly discuss what do we have there. So ReleaseOwl has a very rich transport management capabilities in terms of be it creating of transports, validating transports, then you can schedule your import of transports, and then you can retrofit seamlessly. We have one of the best conflict resolution editor when you are retrofitting transports from one landscape to another landscape. So now let us attach the transport here.
Yeah. So here I have already attached the transport, because we have a capability where you can create the transport right away from the platform itself. So I have created a transport and added the objects or developed object to the transport in the backend. So here you can see the developed objects that we have made changes are available over here and added to the platform right away.
Okay, now let's go to the CPI management. So with respect to CPI, today it is called integration suite. So even we struggle to maintain the changes that SAP does from time to time. So let us use integration suite. So there are a lot of things, like you have value maps, you have iFlows. There are quite a few artifacts that are there. And ReleaseOwl has capabilities to compare these artifacts across multiple environments, or within one environment, compare multiple versions. And there is also a capability for the CPI. We are the leading platform by distance in this. That's where we are going one step ahead. It's not just about deployments. We have also built a unit test generator that will help you unit test your CPI artifacts. And then we also have a backup and rollback, which is very essential. Most of the companies that we work with, they are regulatory industries, and that means to meet their compliance needs, backup and rollback has to be available not just as a plan, but also in terms of capability. So we have built that backup and rollback. So and then on top of all this, we have a security rule engine for CPI, because CPI cuts across not just SAP systems, but SAP and non-SAP systems. It is very important to run security rules on these integration suites and ensure that everything is intact. So we have a security rule engine, a unit test generator, backup and rollback, comparator of a flow across multiple sandboxes or multiple environments. So yeah, let us synchronize the changes that we have done.
Yeah. So earlier, the current version is 1.0.42, and the version that we had developed in CPI is at 1.0.43. So let's quickly synchronize this package so that we will get the latest changes available in ReleaseOwl. So it's syncing now with the platform. Just give us some time. And here we are. So the sync is done, and here you can see the package got updated, or the iFlow that we have modified, or the developer modified got updated to the version that is available in the development environment. Yeah.
Great.
So
let's do it for SAC as well.
So
SAP Analytics Cloud. We are the only platform to be. I'm very proud that of the team and the architecture that we have built. So we are able to extend to one SAP world after another with very little effort. And here we are now with SAP Analytics Cloud as well, which is the order of SAP today. Most of the initiatives are around AI, and which is all powered with the data and analytics coming from the SAP Analytics Cloud.
yeah. So here, as we have already modified the content in our SSE environment, let's quickly sync this and get the latest developed objects into the platform. And once we have synced, we'll be deploying the packages that we have over here. Yeah. So this is for the SSE that we have worked for, or we have synced for.
Similarly, I think we may not have done change in this demo, but we have built pipelines for BTP. Essentially, that's the power of ReleaseOwl. Each of these SAC or CPI or BTP or transports, they have their own way of packaging, their own way of deployments. If we look at transport, it's one way. If we look at BTP, it is all driven by Git. As Krishna was also mentioning, it is all driven by Git. So when it is in from Git, it is about fetching changes from a branch, creating an MTAR bundle, and then running the static code checks and then deploying on it. So that is why it is a little bit different compared to how we synchronize the artifacts of a CPI or SAC. So can you show the build pipeline that we have in terms of design that we have done? These pipelines are very easy to configure. Just give a name, choose where your Git repository is hosted. And even if you have Git repository by your hack teams or by SAP themselves, so we have support for SAP Git. And once you select your repository type, it will show the list of repositories. These are all our real repositories that are there. And once you choose your repository, it will show the list of branches. And once you choose the branch, you can choose the type of builder, and you can set up your schedule, notifications, much like what you might have seen in other technologies, how a packaging works, how a deployment works. We are trying to fit SAP into enterprise world, enterprise DevOps toolchain. All right. So what we have seen is now how do we package transports, how do we package CPI artifacts, SAC packages, the BTP changes. Now let us add all these changes to our user story. That is what we call linking this change. So as a developer, he has done them. He has brought all of them into ReleaseOwl. Now it's just about adding those things. So here you can see the richness in one single user story. You can individually run any of them. If you are maintaining different projects, each of them have a different deployments or release cycles. You can run them independently. Or if you have dependencies and you want to deploy all of them together, you can see how for a single user story, how we add multiple different types of artifacts. Yeah, please go ahead and.
Yeah. So as we have already synced the artifacts or the transports that we have worked on, so can be attached to the user story through which we will be promoting the objects. So here we have an option to add or create right away into the platform. So as we have already added or created the transport from the platform, just click add and select the transport that you have worked for and say okay. So what it will do is it will add it to the user story. So in the similar way, we will add the CPI artifact as well. So this was the artifact that we have modified. So let's select that and add it to the user story. And in the similar way, we'll also add the SAC package that we will be deploying into our environment. So here I will be selecting the demo package and add it to the user story. So in the same way, we can add the builds. And if you have any attachments like development documents or any document that you want to relate with the user story, then you can also upload it over here. So once you are done, then you can simply say save, and it will be attached to the user story that you are working on.
Yeah, at this stage, you can actually validate the user story, or you can validate the story as part of the pipeline, which is a quality gate. So to ensure that we save time, to avoid validation multiple times, so we will try to set it up at a quality gate for validation and then run it through the pipeline. All right, now we have done one important step where the user story has all these artifacts attached to it. Now, what is next? It's about taking this user story forward. And for that, we have all our most powerful release pipelines. So where you create it at the time of ReleaseOwl setup and just keep running it for multiple sprints and projects. So it is very easy to create. Just click on, for this demo, what do we have? Let me explain you. So we have two stages, a QA and prod. And then we have validation as one task, where validation is about if it is a transport, it runs dependency checks. It runs transitive dependency checks, and it checks package versions, and it checks for critical objects. So after that, if there are unit tests, ABAP units, it runs ABAP units, generate the code coverage reports, and then it runs ATC, which is ABAP test cockpit, and shows violations. And you can have an option that if any of them failed, you can stop the pipeline. So that's where you have continue on failure checkbox. Okay. So all these validate, and not just here. If artifacts contain CPI, security rule engine will run. If artifacts contain BTP, Sonar Cube will run. If artifacts contain SAC, SAC tests will run. So we have built it, complete validation package that it will dynamically identify what are there in the user story and will run them. And once they are run, then it is important in a matured development practice that these results will be available for your development leads to analyze and then approve or reject this deployment. And most times, why we emphasize code review or peer review as a very critical step of success and more as a shift left, which is done by tooling, is that your leads have very precious time and they can focus on more advanced issues in terms of dependencies and all that than just doing these mundane activities which can be done by the tool. Let tool run, give you a one-level quality report, and that will challenge leads to think beyond and then identify what more issues can come. After that, hoping that Rahul did a good job with the changes that he made and peer review will be approved, the next it will be deployment. And after that, we go and update Jira with all the summary, like what is done, who has approved, what are the results. Everything will be written back into your Jira so that your Jira will become your source of truth. So your project managers, your analysts, quality analysts can review everything on Jira itself. That will help you in making very informed decisions as well. Okay, and this is the QA stage, and you're hoping that it passes through all this. Then you have the prod, where you have approval and then deployments. You can set up. There are a quite range of tasks that you can add. If you click on add, so here you have deployment tasks, you have approval tasks. You can call out external systems. We have a very powerful call out engine where you can call tools like ServiceNow, for example. Before production deployment, you want to have a call out to ServiceNow to create a change request. And once it is approved, then only the deployment should continue. A great example of a callout framework. And we have test execution, be it Tosca. Now we are integrating with UiPath as well, be it with Selenium, be it with HCL OneTest. We have out-of-the-box integration where you can configure your tests here, you can create test plans, and you can run them after your deployment. And we also have message listeners. That's a new feature which we announced in our current winter 23. which can listen to external systems and act based on the messaging. So like this, you have a series of tasks which helps you pretty much design your change management process the way you want it for your enterprise. Who has to approve? It can be multiple approvals, multi-level approvals. You can set it up, set up automation, set up approval process, set up your validations. And that is where you can really run a proper SDLC with tooling. So let us now move on. And then at this point, this is the pipeline that we have made. And now let us go ahead and promote our pipeline, promote our user story in the pipeline. So all it needs, once you have the pipeline created, all it needs for you, story is there. You have added changes to the story. You can just go ahead and click promote. That's it. Everything can be done from this single screen end of the day. User story is here. Within the user story, changes are there. Once you add the changes, just click promote. It will kick off the pipeline. And now you can see the validation in progress. It will run one after another and then keep showing us. Do you have something that we can see already in the interest of time?
Yeah, just.
Yeah, here you can see the validation done. And just click on report once. And you can see the CPI linked, the TR reports, downgrade protection checks, cross-reference checks, and everything one after another. Very clearly, it will be available for us. In case if it is failure, we will have the errors and all that. And then, yeah, we will let that run and show the peer review. So with peer review, what it means is a task that will be assigned to individuals. For now, we have assigned Rahul so that he will not be able to log in and log out. So you can see the My Task section in ReleaseOwl where you have all your tasks that have been assigned to you for approval or for taking actions. And clicking on that will give you details. Okay, everything is here. What transports are part of this? What validation results are there? What are the CBI artifacts? You can see the validation report at the right corner itself. So you can pretty much see the complete comprehensive report for a lead. I will be very happy if I have a report like this before I can. It's not just about I can take an email, please approve my deployment, and I say yes, right? As a lead, I want to be on top of it. Now release status check failed because transport is not released. Great. I let my developer fix it. And then downgrade protection check. There's a warning. That means there's another transport which may go to production early. And we are throwing that here. And similarly, you click on test execution report where there's a ABAP unit test failed. And I want the team to review this first. And then there is code coverage report. You can see the branch coverage is very less. I can point my team, figure this out. And there is ATC report where you can see the errors, the warnings that are here. And I can let the team review these errors. And in terms of CPI, the governance rules. And there are violations, 3 violations in my CPI artifacts. And I let the team really review it, re-trigger the validation again, and then come back for review. Similarly, you have test results. These are the CPI unit tests which have run and which have failed. Now, this gives a pretty good state for the manager or the lead to really review how good or how bad is the change that's being made. We all know SAP systems run critical operations, and a change can really impact tons of hours, tons of money, and more than anything else, experience of the end users. And that is where you need to have a very robust validation system in place before we approve any single change.
Yeah.
Moving on. Now that generally, if this is the case, I will not approve. But for now, for the sake of webinar, and Rahul does a better job than this.
Yeah.
So
So here you can see that the release status is not yet released. That means that the main transport is not yet released and you are trying to promote it. So here it is giving an upset warning. Okay, you cannot promote until and unless you release this. If you try to approve this, what it will do is the pipeline will fail because your transport is not yet released. So what you have to do is you can reject this task, or if you want and release the transport and then re-promote your user story. So
Okay.
for instance, what we'll do is for a quick play, we'll quickly reject this task and then release our transport and then re-promote the user story. So let me add a report. TR is not yet released. And I can update my user story to state again and reject this. So what it will do is it will reject my pipeline, and here you can see it has been rejected. So as I know what I have to do it, so I can quickly go ahead and release my transport first over here and then re-promote this user story. So ReleaseOwl has a pretty much everything that you can do for your transport, like creating your transports, releasing your transport, or you can also create the TOCs for your transport right away from the platform itself. So as my transport has been released now, I can quickly say I can promote this user story, so that now this time it will validate again, and we will see that the validation that has been done will have the status with success for the release status of the transport. So once you approve as a peer reviewer, it will promote your user story in a proper way, so that every change that you have developed will be deployed accordingly and in a successful manner. So let's give us a little time to validate this particular validation task, so that once it has been validated, peer reviewer can review this particular task again and move or approve the peer review task, so that it will start deploying the objects from the user story to the respected environment.
Yeah, maybe we can click on administration once, just because we have a minute here. I can squeeze in to click administration. So this is where you pretty much add your environments. You can design your callout URLs. You can set up users. You can set up your roles. You can every action, every click on ReleaseOwl is role controlled. So you can say for QA, this is the role. For dev, this is the roles. For prod, these are the roles and these are the users. And getting on to ReleaseOwl, if it is a cloud thing, it's a matter of minutes, because we are a SaaS application natively built and we are on the SAP Store certified product. So you can pretty much register your environments and get started as simple as that. If it is transports, it will be one more step where you have to register your gateway URL and get started. We have full support for GCTS as well. And then even ABAP Cloud, which is Steampunk ABAP Cloud. Again, I struggle with these names. They have complete support for that as well. I think we are good. We will see, hopefully.
Yeah. So
the validation is done.
Yeah, to add one more point to the connectivity. So we also support the SAP Cloud connector. So to connect your environment with the SAP is pretty much easy using the SAP Cloud connector.
Yeah,
so
that's a very important point, Rahul, that you mentioned.
Yeah. So let's see whether I have the task to approve it. Yep. So here you can see the peer reviewer has the task to approve. I can quickly go ahead and see the violation report. And here you can see the release status is success now. And depending on the rest of the things might have not worked for our testing part, let's assume that I'm okay with the error part and I approve this. So that what it will do is it will now start deploying my environments into the respected targeted environments according to the target system that we have mentioned in the release pipeline. So it will take time to the deployment. It has triggered the deployment now, and let's see what it will deploy and how it deploys. Just give it some time, like a couple of moments.
I see some questions. I think it's good that is this tool available in RISE with SAP? Yes. How is the licensing model for this tool? This is a good question, Yatora Shigwe. So for the ECC and S4, we have system-based pricing. because several customers have asked us to give system-based training because they cannot really control the number of user licenses. For the enterprise, for the cloud systems, we have it user-based pricing. If you really want to have one enterprise-wide license for all things, we can still work on it. But if you want to have individual editions for ECC and S4, it is system-based pricing. For the CPI, BTP, and SAC, and all the cloud things that we release forward, it will be user-based pricing.
Yes. So here you can see my deployment is done across different environments that we have added to the pipeline with a single click. So here I have deployed my transport into the quality system QA1. I deployed my CPI artifacts into my quality system. And also I have deployed my SSE packages into the target system. So here, this is how I have deployed my environment, and you can see the deployment log. And we call it as a multiverse to mention. Yeah. So as we have deployed, it has also updated my Jira user story to the status that we have mentioned in the release pipeline. So here you can see the status has updated. Just let's see whether it has updated or not. So earlier it was in to-do state. Now it got promoted to or updated the status to prod ready. And here you can see it is available. So let's click this. And as mentioned by Niranjan, every action that you perform in ReleaseOwl will be captured in your Jira user story comment section, so that you can use this for your auditing purpose as well. So who has validated, who has imported, who has done the checks, and other things are available over here. So everything will be captured under the comment section of the user story.
Great. I think we have 3 more slides. So it's team. I believe we have shown you a glimpse of what ReleaseOwl is. Again, it has second integrations with test automation tools, ServiceNow, but that is a little bit beyond the scope of this in the respect of time. So let us switch back to the slides, and while it will complete the production deployment. We all know that. So
yep. Okay. So
back to the slides. I think we have a couple of more things that I want to touch with. There has been one question that generally teams ask is about what is the difference between. Could you show one more time how the source and destination is defined for SAC, BTP, and CPI? Okay, we take 1 minute. Rahul, Marco has a question for us. Can you just show the administration screen where we register the BTP environments?
Hello.
So Marco has a question. Could you show one more time how the source and destination is defined for SAC?
Okay.
Or CPI? Can you just show that once, real quick?
Yeah.
We are a bit crunch on time, but we'll just finish this and go there.
Okay.
Can this be integrated with Azure DevOps? Absolutely, Otera. It is available out of the box right now. And in fact, from the last 2 years. Everything from Azure DevOps blends into ReleaseOwl effortlessly.
Just 1 second. I have made a host. I'm just getting back the screening permission. Just a moment.
And I think more questions coming, which is great. I really appreciate the questions that are coming. Can handle multiple developers working on the same object? Yes, we have a conflict resolution, and we can discuss that later to understand more details, and we can work to it, Rahul.
Yeah. So the question is.
It was from another Rahul, by the way. Okay. Yeah, we are real quick. We have running short of time. So just really show where we define our source and destination for. We can show the admin section first and how we register, and that will give probably CPI environments. Yeah. So this is where we register the environments, the QA, the dev, and prod. And in the pipeline, we choose these environments. Marco, if that helps.
You just need to select in which environment that you want to deploy. So here I have selected the QA environment for the CPI, and it will deploy my artifacts into the CPI. So while defining, you have to select the dev as a source in the project settings, which will sync only the artifacts from your project development environment to note. Yep.
Okay. I think we'll switch back to slides. There is another question from Madhu. Can it be integrated with test Madhu Pallerla? Can it be integrated with test automation tools? Absolutely, yes. Out of the box, we have already with Selenium, Tosca, and now we are working with UiPath. If there is HCL test is also out of the box, and if there is any other tool, please let us know. It's our constant endeavor, because as Krishna Kishore was mentioning in the beginning of the call, it is about modernizing this world. Nobody wants to run everything inside SAP. These are enterprise tools, and you want to fit SAP technology into this world. Do you support retrofits? Another great question. That is, within one landscape, within one version from within ECC, it works seamlessly. From ECC to S4, it is not 100%. I have to be very honest, because there are challenges that come in. So there is partial support. Okay, one more thing from Tarun. What are the US? Yeah, that will be my next slide, Tarun. Hold on to this thought for 1 minute. At the time of deployment, can you control import? We have introduced a lot of capabilities for import, like ordering, custom ordering, scheduling, but I will take this question a little bit later, Vijay. Probably Rahul, you can answer that toward the end of this call. So this is real quick. The DevOps for SAP story is assigned to developer works on these changes, and then run the validation, run the governance tools, perform the code review, deploy it, run the automated tests, update the user stories and bugs to Jira, then create package, get the approvals from ServiceNow, and once it's all approved, then deploy to production and perform the business checkouts. Next slide. This is the grand world, and you can get it end-to-end with ReleaseOwl. So there are questions that we generally come across as to what is the difference between Solman and ReleaseOwl. And I was talking to Krishna Kishore, are we really competitors with SAP? No, we are also an SAP product built on SAP, and we respect ReleaseOwl. But ReleaseOwl is kind of where, Solman is something where it requires on-prem, it requires a lot of implementation time, kind of legacy product. And for the cloud, it has a different offering, which is the Cloud ALM, which I'm going to talk next. And then does it have out of the box for CPI? Is it easy to integrate these test automation tools? A little bit hard. This is what I need not tell this. Those of you who already are using Solution Manager, or who have evaluated Solution Manager in the past, Solution Manager Charm in the past, will agree with me on this. Similarly, Solman is a lot more than change management. It has case management, requirement management, but how many customers want to invest in Solman today to do this? They have their ServiceNows, they have their Jiras, and they would want to leverage them to get consolidated enterprise quality reports, not just do SAP alone in a different way. With ReleaseOwl SaaS platform, no infrastructure required, no installations required. Hardly a week, you will be up and running along with your use cases. Natively built, SAP certified, and we are an example of what SAP BTP can do. You have seen in 1 hour, from development of change all the way to prod, not even 1 hour, from 40 minutes, we have achieved it, cutting across all these SAP complexities. Next slide, please. SAP Cloud ALM. So this is another question that we keep getting. Again, if you see Cloud ALM, if you closely observe, this is the roadmap of Cloud ALM from SAP website itself. You can see downgrade protection, retrofit, all of them indicate SAP is moving into Cloud ALM, the SAP change management. And now they recently announced a couple of weeks ago, the ITSM solution. Again, they are trying to build everything inside ALM. And if you look at what is Q4 24, for example, support for retrofit, which is probably, it is also termed future use, and we are not sure if that comes on that date. But ReleaseOwl has it from 2 years now. That means we are ahead of Cloud ALM in terms of capability stack, probably 2 years ahead of the game. So what they have, downgrade production now, is already there 2 years ago for us. Import scheduler is already there. Deployment app in Q1, we already have demonstrated it today. And workflow integrations in Q4 2024, you see on the right-hand side, last column, we already have that today for tasks and features, the workflow integration, which we have demonstrated. So Cloud ALM is great again, but we are ahead of it at least 2 years in terms of time. Last thing, we are not just about a great platform. We are also firm believer of a great community. So we are building SAP DevOps community. We have so far probably conducted free workshops and DevOps certifications for close to 500 people now. And we will have pretty soon the Multiverse certification also being announced. And you can nominate your team members who really wants to upskill in DevOps or really want to become a strong automation engineer in DevOps to be part of this Multiverse workshop and then get certified. It is all free of cost for those of you attending. For all of you and your employees, your team members, it will be absolutely free of cost. Next slide, please. We are probably, yeah, last thing, we are at TechEd. All of this team, you will find us at TechEd. And if you are coming there, or if your team members are coming there, if your practice heads are coming there, if we want to have a deep dive on what we do and in terms of how do we take things forward, we will be very happy to be there. You can you can reach us offline, and you can just write an email to sales@releaseowl.com. Probably this is one word where I use sales. Sorry, Krishna, but you can write an email and then we can take it from there. So how do you position yourself with Active Control, RevTrack? So Chandra, I'll take a minute to send you this email. I think Yotara also asked the same question. We have a slide, but it will become too much salesy if I use all those things in this call. But I'll send you an email with the comparison slide to Chandrasekhar P and Yotara as well. Last question, does it work with single development object transport on which multiple developers has worked? Yes, it works. It is not just about transport, it's about tasks also. Shubham Katia, the short answer is yes. Great, we are 1 minute away. If there is any one last question, I will take, but otherwise, with around 15 questions, it is look forward to meeting you at TechEd. Thank you, Chandra. I look forward to meeting you as well. Wonderful team. You have invested an hour time to learn about ReleaseOwl. As a founder of this platform, I sincerely thank you. And hopefully this session has been beneficial for all of you. And thank you again, Krishna, for being part of this panel. And thank you, Rahul. Thank you, Tanya.